Hello, good evening. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I have a great topic as well. So I am going to be talking about adjustment of status versus consular processing. Which one is better? What are the pros and cons of each process? So, while I give you this topic, though, you can go ahead and ask your U.S. immigration related questions. And you can always put it in the questions. It doesn't have to be related to the topic that I'm talking about. It can be anything that's immigration related. Now, adjustment of status versus consular processing. First of all, what is that? What is adjustment of status and what is consular processing? So it's adjustment of status is the process of applying for your green card while you stay in the United States. Consular processing is the process where you are outside of the United States and you're applying for an immigrant visa to get back into the United States. Now, there are some pros and cons of each, but what I do want to say, first of all, is if you're already outside of the United States, then you're going to be doing consular processing. There are some individuals, though, that you may already be in the United States and you are trying to figure out whether you should go or whether you should just stay and do adjustment of status here. So this is going to be very beneficial to you. But if you've already started your process in the foreign country, it's very likely that you will have to continue through consular processing. Now, with adjustment of status, the benefits, of course, are you get to stay in the United States. I like to say you get a head start on life in the United States. The reason I say you get a head start is because when you are going through adjustment of status, you'll get your work permit and you'll get a travel document that still allows you some freedoms, still allows you to to build your life in the United States while you complete your process. With the consular processing, it's like when you're doing consular processing, you will have to stay separated from your family. So whoever is petitioning for you, or if the employer is petitioning for you, you will have to stay outside of the United States. You wouldn't be able to start working. You wouldn't be able to start to live with your relative until you get the immigrant visa to get here to the United States. That can work for some people, though. So being apart, maybe they have their career, they have commitments in the foreign country, and they want, while they're winding down on their commitments and their businesses and so forth in their country, it works for them to stay in their country, do all of that, and wait for the immigrant visa process to be completed. But if you're already in the United States and you don't have much to lose, as a matter of fact, you have more to gain if you stay in the United States, that will likely be a good option for you, as long as you don't have to be working in the other country, or you don't have commitments in the other country that you have to return to. Because after you apply for adjustment of status, there's a period of time that you have to wait to get your work permit and your travel document. I tell my clients to prepare for worst case scenario, even up to a year to get the work permit. So you have to also be prepared for a period of time where you'll not be able to work, you'll not be able to travel outside of the country until those benefits are approved through the adjustment of status process. All right, so can I travel to Puerto Rico with just my driver's license or passport? So Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, and most times you are allowed to travel with your driver's license. However, Laifa, I don't know what your situation is, and that's where it's important for you to get representation, because I don't know what your immigration status is. I don't know what documentation you do have. I don't know what do you have any deportation orders out? So these are things that I would have to know in order to tell you whether it is even okay to leave the mainland, because even though Puerto Rico is considered a U.S. territory, if you do end up in a problem, for example, you have a deportation order, being off the mainland can create more complications for you. So you would want to make sure that if there's something you're concerned about, you get personalized legal advice. Because remember, the information that I'm giving is not personal legal advice, it's general information. So how does one really apply for a green card or get the opportunity to live in the United States? So you'll have to qualify in some way through an employer who's hiring you through your extraordinary abilities, which means that you're at the top of your field in science, arts, education, athletics. You also have to show that you have a family member who you qualify through. Do you have a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse, a parent, or a citizen son or daughter 21, or do you have 21 and up? Do you have a U.S. citizen sibling who's 21 and up? Those could be ways to qualify. But here's a little disclaimer. Each category, if you're applying through family, even through employment, the category is really going to determine how long it's going to take, because some take, right now we're seeing an average of 18 to 24 months, even for the fastest cases, but it can go for decades for some countries, some immigrant visa types. So that's where you should schedule your consultation. If you're really serious about pursuing an option to get permanent residence in the United States, you should schedule a consultation. How long are they taking to approve the I-485? So it depends on the field office or service center that is evaluating your case. You can always look at uscis.gov, and if you go to case processing times on the homepage, you'll be able to see the times based on that service center. My girlfriend and I want to marry in the U.S. Will this supersede an extension of a visa? So no, you would still have, if you get married, you still have to go through the process. You still have to comply with immigration laws. So if you want to get married and you want to figure out what your options are, whether you can, and this is one of the options that I was talking about, is adjustment of status. But we would want to see what kind of visa do you have. We would want to see whether it's a good idea for you to stay, whether you should go, just depending on your lifestyle. So is Fuego, it's important for you to schedule an appointment. For those of you who are watching, if you would like to schedule an appointment, you can do that by clicking on the link in the profile. It's going to take you to the website where you can call, you can fill out a contact form or do online chat. How much will it cost me to travel to Europe with the Chechen visa going to look for a job? I'm not a European EU attorney, immigration attorney. I'm a US immigration attorney, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. All right, keep putting those questions in the comments. I'm here to answer your immigration related questions, so put those questions in the comments. All right, so I've been talking about the pros and cons of the adjustment of status process versus the consular processing. Consular processing is where you as the immigrant, you're outside of the United States, you're trying to get in. And adjustment of status is where you're already here and you would like to figure out how you can stay here and apply for your green card. Now, not everybody who qualifies for permanent residence who are here in the United States will qualify for adjustment of status. Very, very important for you to understand that. That you need to make sure that you meet all the criteria. In some cases, you may stay if you are out of status, as long as you do intend to apply for adjustment of status. Now, if you are the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, there is a possibility to stay even after an overstay. If you've crossed the border without permission, then that's going to be a different matter. Adjustment of status is likely not going to be the process for you. All right, I'm going to take pause to answer some more questions. Got a 2-year green card. What's my next step? So after the 2-year green card, make sure that you continue to document your marriage. Make sure that you continue to gather the evidence that shows that your marriage is real. Because at around the 1 year and 9-month mark, 3 months before your green card expires, you and your spouse, you're going to be expected to apply for removal of the conditions on your 2-year green card in order to get the 10-year. The requirement for that is to show that you continue to have a bona fide marriage while you were in the past 2 years. So you're not going to show the same evidence you submitted when you first were approved for the 2-year. You're going to have to submit updated evidence to show that you continue to live together. Also, keep in mind that if you and your spouse, maybe if you're not together anymore throughout the process, there are ways to apply on your own, but you would have to make sure that you fit within the criteria to apply on your own if you have to do that. Can a Bahamian get a work permit? No, work permits are granted to those who are already in the United States and they qualify for adjustment of status, for example, or for VAWA, or for the T visa, the U visa, but asylum. But the work permit is not something that is issued to an individual who's outside of the country. What you may be talking about are employment-based visas, and those absolutely could be granted to you if you qualify. That's where you definitely have to schedule a consultation to evaluate all your qualifications to determine what you qualify for, and usually the employer has to be the one who submits the paperwork. What is the longest time someone who has a green card can stay outside of the United States? So I definitely would not recommend more than 6 months. More than 6 months is going to may cause you complications. After a year, over a year, your document is not going to be valid anymore. When you're coming into the country, they may just issue you a notice to appear in immigration court for removal proceedings, as in they want to take away your green card. So you should not be staying outside of the United States for extended periods of time. I would say over 6 months, anything over 6 months, red flag. I recommend you make your trip short and sweet. Now, if you can't make your trip short and sweet, you need to go and do something somewhere else, you can always apply for what's called a re-entry permit. And you can schedule a consultation. We can evaluate your circumstances to see if you can qualify for the re-entry permit if you need to leave the country for more time. Re-entry permits are valid for about 2 years. Can I live in another state while my VAWA case is being processed? Yes. So you are free to move. You just have to you are required under the law to update the USCIS and do a change of address within 10 days of moving. But absolutely, you are free to move. So Alicia, no, definitely not. You would not send in the same paperwork. That would get you denied for sure. You would have to send in updated information showing that you continue to have a bona fide marriage. So what that means is the date after you received your 2-year green card up until the time that you apply, all the information between those dates will be what you will need to show. How long would it take if I wrote USCIS about my N400 interview? How long would they take to respond? So Casey, I wouldn't. It depends on what the nature of your letter is and whether it got to the right place, and what is it in response to a request for evidence. So I wouldn't have that information. It would really vary depending on what your situation is. Is your 6-month stay limit refreshed if you are on a visa and in the US and travel out of America? Exactly. So the 6 months, every time that you come in, they're going to give you a new period of time to stay in the US. So if you come in and you're given 6 months, and then you leave before the 6 months, and then you come back again, say a year later, they could give you anywhere from 2 weeks, a week, to 6 months. And so it really depends on what they're gonna approve, what the officer wants to do at the time that you're coming in. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. Okay, so Casey, so just waiting on my interview. So usually if you're doing a case inquiry because you're outside of the normal processing times, they take up to 30 days to get back in touch with you, and usually it's done by phone. You could submit an inquiry by phone if it's outside of case processing time. All right, great questions. Thanks so much for your questions, everyone. And thank you so much for that question on YouTube. I appreciate it. So let me remind you that I'm here on YouTube. I'm here on TikTok at Mondays through Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can always plan out your day. Hopefully you could fit me in to come and learn about new immigration topics and also to ask your general immigration questions. Now remember, the information I'm giving you is not personalized legal advice. It's general information to empower you. And so if you're in a situation where you need to get personalized legal advice, that's where you should schedule a consultation. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help my clients through their process. And you can do that by going to the link in the profile. It's going to take you to the website where you will see a contact number. You can call right up until 10:30. And even if you call after 10:30, there are after hours receptionists available to take your call and answer and help you further. If you call between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 p.m., you will get a scheduling coordinator and they will help you to schedule your appointment with me. Thank you, King of the Undergrown. Thanks so much. Now, so go ahead, call, schedule, allow me to help you, because that's what I'm here to do. Now, if you just want to continue to ask questions, you want to learn about new immigration topics, go ahead and join me tomorrow. I will be back at about 4 p.m. Eastern Time to answer your questions. Thanks for the love, Queen Bee. I appreciate it. And I will be available to answer your questions and come with another topic for you to talk about. So thanks, everyone. I hope to see you tomorrow or speak with you in a consultation. Now, I'm going over to Instagram. I'm not completely done yet. I'm going over to Instagram. When I head on over to Instagram, I'm the immigration attorney on Instagram. I also be on Facebook. ST Law Office is the Facebook for the law firm. ST Law Office. So, or the Immigration Attorney, which is the Instagram page. So you can join me on any one of those so we can continue to have this conversation. And then keep asking your questions if you didn't get to ask a question. If I don't see you there in a minute, see you in a consultation, or I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.